here is Sean Fain being interviewed by Robert Costa from CBS. In Tennessee, we have UAW workers at that Volkswagen plant now have signed I think over 50% have signed a union card. We have a Mercedes plant. Where is that? In Nashville, is it? In Alabama, that is being organized. Remember, Sean Fain has called for unions across the board to negotiate their contracts so that they all come up in the summer of 2028, or particularly, I think it was May of 2028, May Day. So this is someone who is not just building the UAW, he is building the union movement across the board. And taking on issues that are, we have gone through a period where unions were practicing a managerial style unionism, where they were focused on the transactions that they were handling with management as the primary core function of the union, and at least in terms of their relationships. And over the past 10, 12, almost 15 years, really in many respects, starting with the late Karen Lewis and her organizing of the Chicago Teachers Union and their strikes that they held in 2011, there has been an increasingly burgeoning social justice unionism, which basically speaks to the issues not just of the specific members of any given union, but to a class of people, of working class people across the country, and thereby, supporting a much wider, the aspirations of people outside their union, and creating this solidarity, which then comes back and supports the union, the union demands that otherwise now are supported by a greater sense of class solidarity. And here's Sean Fain asked by Robert Costa, I don't know, it's a weird question, but I like the answer.
You're mild-mannered, you're professional, you have glasses on, nice
Pause
guy.
it for 1 second.
He is not mild-mannered whatsoever.
Well, let me just take an exception about the whole glasses thing.
Yeah, Sam's not mild-mannered, and he has glasses on.
Well, what a weird thing to say, though. You're not wearing contacts. Mm-hmm. You haven't gotten LASIK.
Sam, see, when I'm like this, I'm a bitch.
But here's
no. And then when I put these on, look, right? Totally different.
But here's the point, is that for so many, not just Robert Costas, but you could see this, across the ideological spectrum. Working class is supposed to be some type of aesthetic.
Yeah.
Working class is supposed to be a specific skin color. The working class is supposed to have a specific, accent. All of this, and that is just
he's farting in front of people.
That is a brain tick, and there may be actually more to that tick, but we see that across the board, right? All right, but go ahead.
You're mild-mannered, you're professional, you have glasses on, nice guy, but you also rail against the billionaire class, and you wear T-shirts at times that say, "Eat the rich."
I don't think billionaires should exist. No one needs that much money. I think it's inhumane. Pick any city, walk around, you see people starving, people without basic necessities. There's no excuse for that. And it's not because people are lazy or don't want to work. The billionaires that keep amassing more and more wealth so they can build rocket ships and do whatever the hell they want to do, that does nothing for humanity.
Your critics say that's class warfare.
Yeah, class warfare has been going on in this country for the last 40 years. The billionaire class has been taking everything and leaving the working class with nothing.
So you welcome it. You want the war.
It's always, whenever working class people ever step up and say, this is wrong, we want it to stop, all of a sudden, it's class warfare. It's the end of the world.
If you're mild-mannered.
Yeah, there you go. It is, I can't remember. There's times where you've heard Bernie Sanders speak like this. But I just don't remember anybody else allowed to go on television, have a one-to-one interview like this, and express these things.
Yeah.
I don't, the combination of someone who has actual, some measure of power, certainly somebody who's coming and representing labor, but to warrant a one-on-one, interview with a type of situation, I haven't seen this in years.
Yeah.
And it's also helpful to have it outside of the kind of traditional political conversation where it's not a guy that's a senator or a representative who's saying this kind of stuff. It's a union leader. I think that appeals and can reach a different kind of audience than even if Bernie Sanders was saying it, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
Or AOC, to her credit, because she did go on TV and say billionaires shouldn't exist.
Fair enough. True. But to see someone who is not an elected official and has both access to these type of platforms and carrying this message.
And some access to the president. I mean, Biden had to come to him.
Yep.
So he's flexing in a good way.
And how exactly. Everyone wants to know, how are we empowered against all these people who control the world, the billionaires? And this is getting him out there saying, like, actually, in a union, we reopened a plant that they shuttered with strikes. Like, that is an incredible flex. And none of this would be possible if they hadn't had such a successful campaign last year.
100%. And we will be talking more about labor in the context of this FTC case, where the sort of convergence of some of the high points of the Biden administration converge. But we'll talk about that in a moment.